Officially underway. Ronnie Porter controls. Badgers go right to left as we see it. Porter, the lone starter who returned from last year's regime change, and she has really embraced her role as a lead distributor for this team. Porter gets it back from Gift Uchenna. The star freshman Jones guards. Now Destiny Howell. She had 6 3-pointers against Miami. Spots Porter up top on the drive. Now Gift Uchenna inside. Uchenna, second in the nation, rebounds last year, and she flashes to scoring to get us started.
Uchenna, the first points on the day. She has about 8.9 points per game on the year, but she's efficient in that thing. She has been a really good post scorer for this team.
Now Abigail Wright. Hand up to her star teammate White, averaged 5 points last year, now up to 15, one of 10 players in the history of the Ivy League to accomplish that. And now a terrific pass from her, finds her teammate all alone underneath.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier in the game. That's the connection to look forward to. Abigail Wright and Carly White, 2 people who were voted team captains by the team unanimously. That'll be something to look forward to.
White was a unanimous first-team Ivy League, Wright second-team Ivy League. 2 of the big scorers on this team making their presence felt in the early goings. Again, it's Roddy Porter guarded by Jones. Porter sneaks in, blocked underneath by the freshman. And Wisconsin will hold on with 1.3 on the clock, but that is exactly what Olivia Jones brings to this Harvard defense. Was that 5'10", unanimous Rookie of the Year in the conference.
Yeah, 5'10" versus 5'2". Ronnie Porter, she is one on the shorter side of scorers on this team, but again, against 5'10".
And that shot will get waved off. Kira Daniels a little bit late, and you can already see why Harvard allows the 7th least amount of shot attempts in the nation.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what they do is really close down looks. And again, that comes from the fact that they do use a pretty heavy press that can sometimes leave them a bit exposed on the back line, but not over there.
Now White led the Ivy League in field goal percentage coming into this tournament. And wow, what an impressive thing to see as a guard. It's a great move from Wright, not able to complete the look. Gift Uchenna gets her first rebound. That's Lacey Steele, the transfer from NC State. Bit of a juxtaposition, the roster construction with these teams. Wisconsin had 8 new players, 6 transfers. And for Harvard, no transfers in the last 3 seasons. Howell, great find. Steele, jump shot off the mark. And Krupa gets the rebound. Here's White breaking in, open look in the corner, around and out. Sanaya Glenn Bello has started all 4 years as a member of Harvard. Shoots 31% from deep. Oh, speaking of 3-pointers, Howell knocks it down!
Howell near 40% from the 3-point line, shows it over there. She had 6 threes in the game against Miami. That'll be important if Wisconsin wants to escape the Kohl Center and on to the semifinals of WBIT.
Leads this team in scoring with 14 per game. Krupa smothered underneath. Regathered by Wright, working on Uchenna, drives in and she walked with it.
Yeah, the travel over there is going to allow Wisconsin, finally they're moving towards the momentum. Really, that's what we're going to be talking about, particularly in these sort of games. Momentum can really be the key to whether you win a game or not.
You can see the press showing up for Harvard, and Steele steps into a 3 way off the mark. And the press is going to be something to keep an eye on, because against Miami, Wisconsin went into the 4th quarter leading by 15, Ani, but then 7 turnovers in the 4th quarter. Miami cut it to a 2-point game with 40 seconds left.
Yeah, I mean, that's been a sort of trend of both teams that have used the Kohl Center as their home arena, but particularly with the women's team, it has been, that was a major part of why they were losing so many games towards the end of the year.
Jones gets the roll, averages 6 points a game, and she has really been relied on late. Played 40 minutes 2 games ago, 37, or pardon me, in the last game of the conference season, she played 37, and then the conference championship, she played 40. So a ton of energy as a freshman. Her services haven't been needed the past 2 games as much because Harvard has won it so cleanly. Intercepted, brought down the other way. Quick floater, not there. Great defense by the Badgers.
Yeah, that was a pass without much juice on it from Ronnie Porter. I mean, those are the type of passes that Coach Pinchton was talking about trying to reduce, particularly with just how turnover heavy this Harvard defense is.
Here's Kira Daniels, 3-level scorer for the Badgers. Snakes inside, lost the dribble, and now a foul. This Harvard team averages 9 steals per contest. A lot of really terrific, feisty, well-timed defenders.
Yeah, already on the third turnover, on the fourth turnover of the game right now, Harvard.
That was Ncaa Glenbello dancing around. Averages almost 2 steals a game. Also 11 points. 3 starters for Harvard in double digits point-wise. Wright guarded by Daniels. Now Wright inside, working on the freshman Ncaa. Steps around, scoops it up and in. A difficult shot, but no problem for the second team Ivy League.
Experience in the post is something you always hear in college basketball, and that's right there. Shows you right there. Abigail Wright able to work over the matchup of Doria Ncaa. The ball nearly enters our space.
You're lucky you're off camera, Ani, because that was the most I've seen anybody jump in my entire life. You're ready, though.
I was ready.
But already you can see the thicket of deflections that the Crimson are getting. It's a team that loves playing defense, as the scouting report Wisconsin gave us. And you've got everybody on the same page taking pride. It's difficult to stop. Howell, jumper not there. And you can just see whenever these Wisconsin players are taking a shot, there is a hand in their face.
I mean, if you want a stat just encompass the entire year, they're the ninth best, like ninth least points allowed by any college basketball program this season.
Here's Krupa, one of the de facto point guards on this team, averages 3 assists a game. That leads the team. Her and Olivia Jones have been the key distributors for him. Now Lathea Hatera forces it up. Not there, Ncaa the rebound. Porter weaving her way through traffic. Daniels slides in. Outside, Cron, one of the very best three-point shooters in the nation at 45%. Krupa allowing no space for Ncaa. Goes to Daniels, clock at 9. Daniels drives in, double to the cutting Cron all alone.
Great look produced by Wisconsin over there. They use Ncaa as sort of a plug into all the defense, and then suddenly that allows the open in the layup lane.
Wide open 3 for Abigail Wright. Rims out, and Ronnie Porter soars up for the rebound, and then she's fouled by White.
Yeah. Just a great job at purely stuffing the passing lanes and shooting lanes at the same time.
Jones gets a screen from Wright, now Krupa. Inside, Wright, back to work on Ncaa, and this time Ncaa gets the block, Bolin another. Jones scrapping on the ground, Porter in the mix, and now we get a whistle, held ball. It points Harvard's way, so they will retain.
Yeah, just an insane little sequence there. Ncaa with the block, and then from behind, Bolin. Massive double block there. Gonna lead to a Harvard possession though, but that is good defense around the rim by Wisconsin.
8 on the clock, ball up top. Gathered in by Glenbello. Glenbello spins around Bolin. Bolin snakes it free, but a pass over the top, bit of a miscommunication. Glenbello taps her chest and says, "That's on me."
Yeah, it looked like over there, Wright just thought that she had way less time on the clock than she did on that shot clock, so she looked like she had a little bit of a baby hook. You know, that's just what happens when the shot clock starts taking down. It just leads to this little bit of chaos.
And Ani, we talked about how Harvard has such a great defense, but Wisconsin as well has stiffened up here. Harvard 3 for 10, Wisconsin 3 for 8, but the Badgers also have 3 turnovers.
Yeah, and Harvard haven't scored for the last 2.5 minutes of this game.
Badgers cross the timeline with Porter. Cron gets the screen, great close-up by Jones. Now Bolin, extra pass. Porter wants the 3-ball, around and out. Uchenna the rebound, but stolen away by Harvard. Harvard has numbers. Jones leads the way. Free throw line jumper, easy money for the freshman.
Great defensive play by Olivia Jones, and she goes coast to coast, just a simple charity line shot. Good for Harvard over there.
You can see the Badgers trying to get Lily Cron some looks. 88% of her shots come from 3, which makes it all the more ironic that her 2 points were on a Nice cut to the rim. Cron trying to find some space. Now Porter. Porter's been shooting 40% from deep the last 15 games. That one's off the mark. And she really has improved in that category. For 4 years with Wisconsin, she shot under 30% from deep, but has really risen that number this year. Ooh, speaking of close three-point misses, around and out, and Cron the nice rebound, or pardon me, defense. And Howell is able to find Porter again.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the year-to-year for Ronnie Porter, it starts with, in the sophomore year, peaking around 10 shots per game, and then goes to 8, and then 5. You'd think that's because of a lesser role, but it's actually because of more of a role in the team.
And that time, Cron connects. Wisconsin retakes the lead. And a foul will go on Ronnie Porter, or will it go on Harvard? Sure enough, offensive foul on Olivia Jones, and Wisconsin takes over.
Yeah, it looks like it will be a moving screen over there. Ronnie Porter able to pull it out there. And as we were talking earlier, you know, her role with this team, with just pure shots, you'd think that it's gone down, but it's actually gone to a lot more into the playmaking side and the shot creation side. And that part has really made probably the best version of Ronnie Porter in a Wisconsin jersey.
And the foul belongs to Krupa. Now Daniels fed into Gift Ncaa, using the height to get her second bucket of the game. Gift Ncaa listed at 6'3". The tallest starter for Harvard is 6'1". And Harvard is a terrific team on the offensive boards. +5 per game to be exact. White scoops it up. Tried to sneak it past Ncaa, but instead off the mark, steal the rebound. Carly White, one of the better defenders in the nation. Gift Ncaa been working on the jumper, instead feeds it into Daniels. And a jump ball is called. The Badgers will retain with just under 40 seconds left in the first quarter.
Yeah, forcing these jump ball type plays, I mean, that's exactly what you would want out of a really good coached team. You know, you're just trying to get these possessions where it's more 50-50. If you can't get a 100% defense of 100% offensive play, you might as well get the 50-50 play. You have your best shots over there.
Cron with 6 on the clock. Looking for an option. Steele has to fire. It's long, but Ncaa gathers, and she's all alone. 6 points for Gift Ncaa on 3 of 3. 4 rebounds as well.
Harvard now one of their last 8 over here. They need something to go in.
Shot clock off for the Crimson. Wright with 6. White, wide open 3, knocks it down. And a great response for Harvard, as that will do it for quarter number 1. It's been a defensive duel so far here from Madison. March basketball means extra physicality, and we've definitely seen that, Ani.
Absolutely.
Well, right now, Gift Ncaa has been the story for the Badgers. 6 points on 3 of 3 shooting, 4 rebounds as well, but Harvard, a little bit of three-point magic to end period number 1.
And she's proving it right here. Biggest games, and she's providing.
Averaged 13 rebounds a game last year as a member of Southern Illinois, as Harvard cuts it to 1. Doria Jaya with 10. Hands off to Steele. Great defense by White. Porter has to feed it inside. We have a whistle. That might be a double dribble called on Ronnie Porter.
Yeah, another turnover forced by Harvard. I mean, again, this is exactly what we're talking about when we're saying they just don't allow shot attempts.
And that will actually go on Doria Jaya. It might have been a 3-second violation on the freshman. Very talented, also very raw. Played 9 minutes against Miami, had 4 fouls. Here's Jaya back on the defensive end. Krupa has to pass it out. Now White guarded by Daniels. 6 on the clock. Slow tempo so far. Tenacious defense. White sneaks in. Floater, no. Offensive rebound from Wright. Press again up for Harvard, but Ronnie Porter able to navigate it. Did struggle with that at the end of the Miami contest. A great response for Harvard in the midst of a 7-0 run as Wisconsin got a few buckets. Doria Ncaa wanted the answer, not there.
Yeah, Ncaa 6'3" as well. So Wisconsin have a bit of a sort of two-center play over here, and they've been using that set quite a lot, especially in the post. A lot of their play has revolved around the post because of just how much that opens up the three-point play.
White missed the three, Hatera the rebound. Glenn Bello travel. And the second quarter is going to be interesting to watch for the Badgers, Ani, because they had a really great first quarter against Miami. With a quarter, only 6 points to their name.
Yeah, that was a quarter where a combined 15 points were scored. And, I mean, if any teams are going to redo it, it's these two teams right here, purely just because of how good Harvard is on the defensive side. And Wisconsin, I mean, they're no slouches as well. They have some really good players on both sides of the court, so that's going to be interesting, just how much goes up.
Ncaa hands off to Daniels. Wanted Ncaa back inside and said Porter, corner three, no. Right the rebound, quickly ahead to Jones, and Ronnie Porter wants that steal. She leads the team in that category. Jones breaks in, right. A little miscommunication there with White. Another turnover on Harvard, that's their 5th.
Yeah, a rare miscommunication between that duo. I mean, so far they have been the duo that's been working for Harvard alongside some good play by Olivia Jones. But, again, both of them combined have 11 of Harvard's 15 so far.
Howell hit that deep bomb three-pointer with plenty of time left on the shot clock as well. And that's her lone points on the heels of a 6 three-pointer game. Lob up to Doria Ncaa, spin, and great defense from right underneath. Badgers clearly trying to use that height mismatch, and Gift Uchenna's gotten it done. Ncaa, slower start for her early on. Rocco, a kick out. Jones, three-pointer, yes!
Olivia Jones has been really good today. That's her 7th point. She has been a major alongside White and Wright. So Harvard finding a bit of a rhythm here, Vince.
Jones doesn't shoot many threes, but she's 38% in that category. Leads the team in rebounds as well as a point guard with 6.5 per contest. Ncaa again given no room. Howell wants it with 4, but Ncaa puts it on the floor. Ncaa with 1, turnaround jumper, and another incredible defensive possession from the Crimson. Jones gets a screen from right. Now in the corner, White back to right inside. Height mismatch, and Ronnie Porter, maybe recognizing the moment, picks up the foul.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been a massive mismatch to have 5'2" Ronnie Porter guarding someone like Abigail Wright, who is a very good post player, someone who is a lot better on the offensive, like, is a good two-way player, but on that offensive side especially, she is very important to this Harvard offense.
Wright very speedy as well, listed as both a forward and a guard on the team's roster. Just oftentimes too big for guards, too fast for forwards, and she has reaped the rewards. And here is Wright, Ncaa driving and scoring. Abigail Wright, count it, plus the foul. She's headed to the free throw line.
Yeah, I mean, that is a great play to just show you how good of a player Abigail Wright is. She drives in and she gets the foul on the play. She shoots about 66% from the free throw line, so it's not a guarantee that this is going to be an extra point, but what matters is getting the point in the first place.
Wright misses, but a great rebound from White. She's now all alone for 3 and called a to end quarter number 1, so make it 15-0 for them. Porter doubled, finds Cron in the corner. Great closeout by Jones. Daniels the spin inside. Gift Uchenna lays it in.
Harvard having a really important play. It's 12-2 in the second quarter. Harvard are now 3 of their last 3, but Wisconsin getting some a nice little putback there.
White takes in herself, right there for the offensive rebound, but slapped aside by Ncaa. That White and Wright pick and roll has been lethal thus far. Wisconsin able to disrupt it this time as Roddy Porter goes careening to the
run she gets, particularly in this first period, as she does come out.
Now Lathea Hatera, the sophomore, comes in from Pikermi, Greece. This is a very veteran Harvard team, but also a lot of youth as well. Very exciting present and future for them. Daniels working on Jones, 5 on the clock, bowling around. Live grenade for Daniels, has to fire. Oh! Kira Daniels, a low arcing laser.
Not much time on the clock. Daniels gets it to go. Wisconsin break the deadlock.
And a foul will go on Harvard as Ronnie Porter forces another offensive foul.
Yeah, more than willing to sort of let the foul happen, Ronnie Porter. She's not shying away from it. Great play, especially on the physical side by Porter.
That's the lowest arcing three-pointer I've seen in a long time, Ani. But the difference between the Badgers and the other opponents that Harvard has had, and this is something Carrie Moore talked to us about, so the Badgers between Kira Daniels and Destiny Howell have an extra level of shot creation that Harvard hasn't seen. Nice pass from Howell. Now over to Cron. Here's Ronnie Porter driving in, floater through, and Wisconsin cuts it to 2.
Porter there finally gets some points on the board. Wisconsin now on a 7-0 run, and Harvard has to call time.
Ooh, feeds it up top. Krupa, a nice catch. Looks like you were intramural yesterday, Ani. Ooh, we have a whistle off ball, and that'll be on Shea Bolin. And already the 5th foul on the Badgers in this quarter.
I mean, it is being a game of back and forth so far. Wisconsin 7-0 in their last 2 minutes. Harvard haven't scored for the last 2.5 minutes. It's sort of been the trend of this game when one team's going hot and one team's going cold at pretty much the exact same time, and they're just trading that position back and forth.
Ooh, delay of game called on the Badgers. I think Robin Pinchton was calling out some assignments, may have taken a little bit too long there as a player headed on the floor. And now Harvard gets back to work. Great find. And a three-pointer from Nina Amnasi, not there, but a great rebound forced up by Glenn Bello. Now a block underneath, Shea Bolin secures. Here's Howell, scoots inside and lost the handle, turnover.
Great play by Krupa. She knew exactly what Howell was going to do, and she read it, and she adjusted to the sort of carry and put through, and she was able to adjust to it, and it's good defensive play. Again, Harvard avoiding the shot.
And that's been the story for Destiny Howell this year. She had a 40-point game against Oregon, hit 10 three-pointers, broke a team record for threes in a game. Then the very next game against Nebraska, 0 points in that contest. So you've seen both ends of the spectrum for her as Wright misses the open shot. And now a whistle, I think that's gonna go on Shea Bolin again.
Yeah, I mean, looks like the arms got sort of stuck with each other, and that's gonna mean a foul on Bolin.
And Wisconsin's having a look at it. Nobody's used their appeal yet in this contest. And Coach Pinchton is trying to get the officials' attention here. We'll see if this is officially an appeal. Or just a fun exchanging of ideas.
A passionate exchange.
Yes. Well, the art of conversation is all we saw. And that will mean Wright will head to the free throw line as now Harvard's in the bonus. Or in fact, now, right as we were getting ready to announce one thing, I think we're going to wind up having an official appeal by the Badgers.
Yeah, I mean, this was definitely one of the... Yeah, this was absolutely one of those fouls that could go either way, so I definitely do see the appeal of challenging the play. On on the other side, though, Abigail Wright, she attempts nearly 25 shots a game. And, I mean, that's exactly the kind of offense Harvard runs because they know just how good they are defensively. Really, all they need are 2 people on their game as you get another look at the foul over here.
That would be the second on Shea Bolin if it stands. That'd be a big momentum breaker for Harvard.
Going to be involved with how Bolin had a hook on Abigail Wright's arm, especially the right arm, as you can see in that clip. I think that's what the referees were looking at.
And sure enough, the call is confirmed. Wisconsin loses their appeal. And now Wisconsin will get to use the timeout. So this has been kind of a bizarre game. We've seen a very slow pace. We know that's to be expected with Harvard, allowing opponents in the top 10 of the nation in fewest field goal attempts allowed per game.
That's going to be massive for Harvard, knowing that Wisconsin have already lost their appeal.
Right, 60% from the charity stripe. And she splits the pair. Up to 9 points on 4 of 9, but 6 rebounds as well.
Harvard haven't scored a field goal in the last 3 minutes, but they've kept their momentum going despite Wisconsin closing down the lead.
Porter ducks by. Cron, the corner 3, left short. And Jones with pace. Outside, Glenn Bellows sneaks it through. Fast break perfection from Harvard as they extend the lead to 5.
Sania Glenn Bello there, just a nice little reverse layup. And Harvard extending their lead and finally breaking the deadlock of no field goals in the last 3.5 minutes of this game.
Gift Uchenna back on the floor for the Badgers. She leads the team with 8 points. Make it 10, as you can see Wright kind of smiling and shaking her head. I think she knew she tried to draw foul there. Definitely worth the attempt, but Gift Uchenna finds herself again an uncontested shot at close range. Glenn Bello guarded by Cron. Krupa tries the jumper, not there. Cron fights for the rebound. It's Daniels who comes away. Wisconsin down 3, under 140 left in quarter number 2. One of these teams playing their last game of the season. Gift Uchenna lobbed in, and now the physicality on defense hurts Harvard again. A foul to their name, just their 4th in the quarter.
Yeah, going to be an interference on that pass there. They're going to rule that Uchenna just did not have the right sort of conditions to actually receive that pass.
They're going to get Krupa for that foul. That's her 2nd. Katie Krupa, a really fascinating story. Shot 43% from deep 2 years ago. Only 23% this year. But they have kept her in the starting lineup and stuck with a really terrific player with a history of success with this program.
She's been here for 4 years, so you might as well reward that sort of level and dedication to the program.
Lacey Steele, the NC State transfer, almost got the N1, but she's headed to the free throw line nonetheless.
Steele is a 33% three-point shooter, but from the free throw line, she only shoots about 68%. She only averages about 1 attempt a game, though.
Foul will go on Asani Caesar. Haven't seen too much of her throughout the past few games. But head coach Carrie Moore said in her media availability that she's emphasizing trying to get the younger players some opportunities. And Caesar, a sophomore from Vegas, Nevada, will get herself a look. Steele splits the pair. And Wisconsin was going to get the chance to inbound as Gift Uchenna knocked it off of a Crimson.
I mean, you were talking about Asani Caesar getting more of an opportunity, but a lot of that is also motivated by Carly White having so many fouls.
Carly White with 3. Haven't seen her since she picked up that 3rd. Howell lost the dribble, stolen away by Jones, and now stolen back by Howell. 5 on 4 for the Badgers. Porter, Steele, back to Porter. And great recovery by Harvard. Porter attacks the rim. Uchenna, another rebound, another bucket. Gift Uchenna, 12 points on 6 of 6.
She's perfect so far. 5 rebounds on the game. She gets it from the top. A great play to show just how valuable Uchenna has been to this team.
Crowd getting loud, tied at 26. Krupa, the free throw line jumper. Howell, the rebound. Ronnie Porter bursts her way into the paint. It has been a game of runs, and Harvard had the biggest, 15-0, but Wisconsin has made 5 of their last 7 shots. Destiny Howell, 3 points in the game. For the lead, wedgie, wedgie, a Marsh wedgie from Madtown. Where were you?
How beautiful, the Mendota wedgie.
And we get an attendant to use the stick. That was maybe the funniest way that shot could have gone. Always a delight to see. I think the first this year in this building. Well, Gift Uchenna for the lead, missed it. Ooh, Harvard player goes down, and as time expires in half number 1, we are left knotted up at 26. Wisconsin and Harvard fighting for her in this spot. Her team almost pulled up the upset against a Badger team that had 23 wins on the season, which was their program's best.
More has turned around this Harvard program. Harvard in their history has 15 20-win seasons, and 3 have come in the 4 years of her being the coach of this program.
That said, in 1998, Harvard became the only team in women's basketball to beat a number 1 seed as a 16 seed, taking down Stanford 71-67. Allison Feaster in that game at 35 and 13. A Porter for the lead, no. Gift Uchenna the rebound. Uchenna up for the lead, missed it short. And White back on the floor gets the rebound.
Good play by Olivia Jones there. She obscures Uchenna's vision to the hoop. That was what was important in them blanking out the scoreboard.
Krupa, three-pointer, no. And now a wide open look for Glenn Bello. And Uchenna gets a rebound. Now a foul will go on Abigail Wright.
Yeah, the turnaround, and that collision is going to be another foul for Harvard, and another foul for Wright. That makes it 3 on the day. That makes it her first foul of the day, sorry.
I forgive you. I'll just see you in the parking lot after the game. Well, we've seen Harvard put up this press, and you got to give Wisconsin credit. They really struggled with it against Miami. They've done a much better job thus far. 7 turnovers in the first half for them. They averaged 16 per contest. Lacey Steele, walled off. A Porter back inside. Uchenna working on Jones for the lead. Got it! Gift Uchenna has 14 and Wisconsin controls. Harvard looking for the response. Wright guarded by Uchenna. Had White on the cut, but then holds on. Jones, three-pointer to retake the lead. Not there. And Wisconsin takes over.
Jones has only attempted 1 today, and that did go in, but second attempt not so good. But this is still a very close game. We entered the deadlock going into the break. And again, this game is far from over. Both teams playing to go to Wichita.
We've had 6 lean changes already. Harvard has led for 10 minutes, Wisconsin for 7. We are 2 minutes into an exciting quarter number 3. Steele wants to screen from Uchenna. Read well by White. Now Uchenna, oh, you don't think? And Harvard forces a tough shot. Whenever Gift Uchenna has taken a three-pointer, although she is 3 for 5 for the season in that department, not exactly her kind of shot.
Yeah, I mean, that's very interesting just how Harvard is defending her. They're sort of letting her have the three-point line and then clogging the passing lane, sort of using that extra player as a pass screener. And that's been working for them so far in this half other than the possession where Uchenna was able to get free and under the hoop.
Jones deflected and stolen by Daniels. Kira Daniels has been quiet so far, has 1 three-pointer. Uchenna works in, but she traveled. An extra step for Gift Uchenna. That's her 2nd turnover.
Yeah, she lifted the plant foot. That's what the ref saw over there in that spin move.
And we talk about Carrie Moore. Robin Pinchton on the other side for the Badgers in year 1 as head coach after 15 seasons with Missouri. Took the Tigers to 4 straight NCAA tournament appearances. And now with the Badgers has really done a great job of refurnishing this team. Three-pointer from White, and Harvard retakes the lead.
White back on the court and immediately making the impact there. The three-pointer is good. That's someone who shoots 44% from the stripe. So watch out.
White, the first Harvard player in double digits. Jones deflected the ball out of bounds. It touched her last. Olivia Jones, the unanimous Ivy League Rookie of the Year. You know, what makes it especially ironic is that this coaching staff knew she had a lot of talent, but did not recruit her to be their point guard. That said, just a matter of getting your talent out there. Oh, great pass from Howell, forces the foul. And Gift Ncaa headed to the free throw line. My Rhymes are on the prowl.
Ncaa from the free throw line is about a 62.5%. She, again, only averages about 2 attempts per game.
Well, knocks that one down, and that's something that Wisconsin has been quietly iffy with. They are 350th in the nation in free throw attempts per game. Of course, they are more of a jump shooting three-point floor spacing team. Gift Ncaa ties it up at 29, but cannot give Wisconsin the lead. Quickly up ahead, Glenn Bello spinning around Ncaa, now back up top.
Yeah, Harvard's defense is clearly making them play a lot more of an inside game, as we're seeing, because this is usually not the Wisconsin game you're used to.
White, fresh off the three-pointer, wants another one, right the rebound, but Porter soars in and steals it away. Long pass to Daniels, deep three, no! When White straddling the baseline, and they'll say she touched out of bounds. White believes that either it was deflected by Howell, but either way, Wisconsin takes over.
Wisconsin now get a prime possession deep, and obviously Harvard's half of the court.
Daniels spin wheels in, now Porter on the outside. Howell with 3 points. Lobbed up to Gift Ncaa, and she uses the height mismatch again. Ncaa has 17 on 8 of 11.
The difference maker today for Wisconsin, 8 for 11 from the field today.
Krupa, number 31, the quarterback of this team is her official label, not the point guard, but she's the one who sets this offense in motion, and that offense forces a foul on Wisconsin. It's on Destiny Howell. That's her first.
I mean, Harvard's a program that has sort of had this reputation of just producing great point guards who sort of dictate the entire play. Obviously, on the women's side, you do have Olivia Jones. On the men's side, in the past, you've had people like Jeremy Lin obviously come through. Very similar sort of letting the point guard become the sort of engine of the entire offense.
Right, wide open. Krupa got it! And Harvard forces the 9th lead change of the game. Katie Krupa, a spectacular three-point shooter as a sophomore. Her numbers down a fair amount as a senior, but she has continued to let it fly, and she knocks out a big-time three.
Yeah, Krupa finally gets her first shot to go. That's her 5th shot attempt today, so it's nice to see something go in. Sort of gives you that motivation to go back to the well.
Howell step back on Glenn Bello, it's good! Wisconsin snatches the lead right back.
Yeah, that's the first back and forth and back point exchange that we've seen since the first quarter here, Vince, just to show you how streaky this game has been on both sides.
It was Harvard who did the damage in the second quarter, but Wisconsin responded. Now they want to force a turnover. Gift Ncaa forces the held ball, and the arrow points Wisconsin's way.
That play and sort of letting the other 4 players try and figure things out. And in that situation, they just weren't because the press was just so solid.
Right, working on the freshman Jaya. Oh, and a turnaround floater falls through. Harvard retakes the lead. You talk about the defensive IQ from Harvard. It's just part of their structure, Ani, maybe, in that you don't have any transfers the last 3 years. Maybe just get that extra time working together.
Very old school way of building the team.
A lot of Wisconsin's success this year is due to the 8 new players they've added, 6 transfers. They've all had an impact. Offensive foul, illegal screen. And they will get Jaya.
I mean, it just talks about, I mean, there's a difference, obviously. It was a whole regime change in Wisconsin for the women's basketball team, and obviously that means a lot more player turnaround. But in Harvard's case, it's really been sort of solidifying the program under Moore.
Extra pass, wide open three, White. And Wisconsin catches a break as one of the nation's best three-point shooters cannot connect. Daniels drives in, dropped off for Jaya. Ooh, long pass rifled to the corner, deflected and stolen by Krupa. Here comes White, just Cron in front of her, and Cron holds her ground. Now Ronnie Porter with pace, breaks into the paint, forces it up. Offensive foul. 5'2", Ronnie Porter went charging in, and they will say she initiated the contact.
Yeah, Krupa over there was looking for the charge, and she's able to get it. They're going to rule that she was stationary during that play, and Porter was charging in, looking for the contact.
Remember, Wisconsin did use their appeal earlier on in this contest on a foul for Shea Bolin. Harvard still has theirs, of course.
And that's going to make it the third foul on, the third foul on Ronnie Porter on this game so far. So she's going to get to the bench so they can conserve her for the final quarter of this game.
Her and White, the two players who have 3 fouls to their name. Jump shot off the mark by Lethea Hatera. Wright delivers the screen. Now receives from Glenn Bello, +1. Abigail Wright, the junior, continuing to pile on. She has 15 with a chance to add more.
Yeah, I mean, another shot. She's going to be sent to the line again. She's only hit 1 of her last 3, but Wright is starting to make the right plays when it comes to just purely getting to the line. That is the important play.
Wisconsin 4 turnovers in the last 2:36. As Wright knocks down the free throw. Do want a correction, she has 14 points now with that free throw made. Daniels is doubled. Howell with 6. No options for the grad student. Working around Glenn Bello, and Wisconsin might have gotten bailed out there. Fresh shot clock as Glenn Bello a little bit too physical with Destiny Howell.
Yeah, obstructing the dribble over there. That's what's going to be the call. Wisconsin now get a clean slate. Let's see how they capitalize. With about less than 2 minutes remaining in this third.
Three-minute scoring drought for the Badgers. Uchenna drives in, wants it over Wright, and Gift Uchenna a rarity off the mark. Abigail Wright back to work and back on the score sheet. Abigail Wright has 16. It seems like we've been saying Gift Uchenna's name the whole contest, but right now Abigail Wright has 16, Uchenna 17. The bigs have really done a terrific job initiating the offense.
Yeah, very unlike Wisconsin game where the centers are really the center of attention in this game.
Three-pointer from Kira Daniels. A badly needed tray for the Badgers, and Daniels does the deed.
Yeah, Wisconsin have 4 turnovers in the last 4 minutes, but over there they get a clean possession. And now Wisconsin are within 3.
Daniels right there with Destiny Howell as the leader in shots per game. But she's only taken 3 so far, 6 points on those 3. Krupa missed it well short, and Daniels gets the rebound. Under 40 in quarter number 3. Howell all alone for the tie. Daniels the rebound. Cron resets. 11-second difference between shot clock and game clock. Steele guarded by Ncaa. Cron with 1, has to put it up. And she was fouled on the shot. They'll get Glenn Bello. A major bailout for the Badgers as Lily Cron heads to the charity strike. Wow.
Yeah, Wisconsin can pull within 1 over here. That's going to be massive for them.
Harvard on the season is 16-2, and they outscore opponents in the third quarter. They've outscored the Badgers 13-10 in that category.
Karan is 90% from the line. So Wisconsin now full within one.
You were going to get jumped on if that free throw didn't go. You were setting yourself up for a jinx, my friend.
I know I have no impact in this game.
Well, maybe if you ran on the court. 11 seconds left in quarter number 3. White buys some time. Now guarded by Steele. White drives in, downhill, missed it. Ncaa with 3. Here comes Steele, heaves it up. Not there, and we have a 1-point game. They are another challenge, this time at home after their first 2 games of the tournament. We're on the road. White drives in, is blocked.
I mean, Pinchton deserves some credit as well. She came into a program that was under a bit of unrest after a pretty controversial departure of the previous coach. And she's come in, and within a year, she's studied the program.
In Wisconsin, 15-17 on the year. Here's White for 3, it's good! Carly White, her 4th three-pointer of the game. Harvard leads by 4. Daniels, the response, offline, slapped out of bounds, and Wisconsin holds on.
4-point lead for Harvard. Wisconsin gonna have to start delivering blow for blow here.
And for Harvard, we spoke to Carrie Moore, but it'd be a misjustice if we didn't talk about Kathy Delaney-Smith, who spent 40 years as the head coach of Harvard. She's the one who pulled up that big upset win the first round where the 16-seed Harvard knocked off #1 Stanford. But she compiled 630 wins over those 40 years, has done a really great job getting this program to where it is. And then the transferring of the guard to Carrie Moore, really successful stuff for a successful Ivy League program. Jones, the freshman, now Krupa. Back to Jones, guarded by Porter. Harvard leads by 4. Under 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Glenn Bello for 3, it's good! Sanaya Glenn Bello, her first 3 of the game.
Yeah, Glenn Bello has had her impact on this game in bit parts, and just as a great screener and distraction, she has done a good job on the offensive side.
Porter slides by Jones, breaks in the paint. Now outside Daniels on the clock. Daniels turns the corner. Jumper around and out. Wisconsin holds on. Fresh shot clock to their name.
Fresh 20 here. It's gonna have to be a different play. Gonna have to maybe change up what they're doing on pass play, because it seems like Harvard have a familiarity with where the ball is going, particularly with the passing lane.
Porter, the jump shot. Rims out. And Howell, the easy offensive rebound and the deuce. She has 7. Porter, meanwhile, 1 of 8 on the game, does have 4 rebounds and 4 assists.
And a whole host of steals as well.
Yep. Krupa guarded tightly by Steele. Lost the dribble, and now Steele's called for the foul. That's Wisconsin's first of the fourth. First for either team.
Yeah, and that's only the first on this period. The bonus is going to be interesting if it even reaches to that point. But obviously, if Wisconsin are behind to the point where they'll need the bonus, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes.
White, fresh off the made three-pointer. Breaks in, floater off glass. Harvard leads by 7.
Carly White and Abigail right now both up to 16 on the game so far. Cron all alone, open 3.
And sometimes you just know it's going through. One of the nation's best three-point shooters in clutch time knocks it down. Harvard calls a timeout. They lead by 4. Harvard has made their last 3 shots. Now another thing to monitor, as she is off the floor right now for Harvard, Ani.
Yeah, it looks to be that left leg of hers that's wrapped up in the compression sleeve. So that will be interesting to look to alongside the foul trouble.
Now Olivia Jones working on Porter, uses the screen, breaks inside, kick out 3. Glenn Bello walked with it.
Wisconsin needs this turnover. They're behind 2 possessions, so they need something to happen here so they can get a foot definitively back in this game.
We've had 11 lead changes so far. Kind of feels like a game where it's just going to be a matter of who has the lead when clock expires instead of who truly won. These 2 teams have been as even as it gets so far. We've had the pleasure of watching a really fun game. Lily Cron narrowly avoided an illegal screen. She knocked down the 3 on Wisconsin's last possession. Now Cron drives in, and Gift Uchenna lost the dribble, gets it back, missed it short.
Yeah, classic pick and roll, but Uchenna unable to convert.
And Uchenna has cooled off. She had 17 points as we started the 3rd quarter, but now nothing since. Krupa relocates, now extra pass to the corner. Mnasi not there. Over the back foul on Glenn Bello.
Again, about 6 minutes remaining in this game. Wisconsin need to convert without Carly White on the court.
And that's going to be Glenn Bello's 4th, Ani. She's the first player for either team to reach 4 personal fouls. And she's a really important defender and contributor for this team.
Yeah, Hadera checking in for her. Someone who's very familiar with Nikki Kirstein, as both of them play on the Greek national team together.
Kirstein, a freshman for the Badgers. Haven't seen her in this contest, but expect to play a pivotal role in future seasons. Badgers down 4. Porter doubled. Bolin fakes. Uchenna can't find it. You got to give a lot of credit to Harvard. They have really stiffened up in guarding Gift Uchenna. That's been a big reason for their defensive success. Wisconsin only 5 points so far in the 4th quarter, 17 in the 2nd half.
Yeah, that's going to be the 14th turnover on Wisconsin.
Harvard can't get it in, and now into Jones as she crosses the timeline. Nicely done by Harvard. Patera guarded by Howell. And a turnover on Harvard. It may have been a travel or a double dribble on Mnasi.
Again,
or was it off ball? It's going to be an off ball call on Abigail Wright.
Wisconsin are getting the fouls, they're getting the turnovers. It's just they need to convert, Vince. It's about 5.5 minutes remaining. Because it has been a low-scoring affair here.
Wisconsin 6 of 16 in the 2nd half, 2 of 7 from deep. And now we're back to work. Still no sign of Carly White, the star for Harvard. Tweaked going down on a shot, and have not seen her since. You know, in a big game like this, if she's available, she will definitely, so maybe speaks to the situation involved. Daniels drives in, a Porter for 3. And another great defensive possession from Harvard. Ronnie Porter, and what she's hoping is not her last collegiate game, is 1 of 9. One of 5 Badgers in their program's history in the 400-400 club in rebounds and assists. Jones breaks in with authority and gets the foul. Olivia Jones headed to the charity stripe. Harvard leading by 4. Jones 78%. Freshman has 7 points on 3 of 6, also 5 rebounds and 2 assists as a point guard. Really versatile player, part of what should be a lot of future success for Harvard, but right now They're caring at most about the present. Hoping to head to Wichita for the semifinals of the WBIT tournament. 3.5 to play. Daniels all alone. She's got it. Kira Daniels cuts the deficit to 3.
Now Wisconsin are employing the full court press, but Carly White is on the sidelines.
White was subbed out after landing awkwardly. And now to your point, getting ready to come back into this contest with a knee brace on. Wright thought about the 3, closed out by Uchenna. 8 on the clock. Glenn Bello with 4 fouls. Now with 3, it's a deep 3. Good! Sanaya Glenn Bello, a crowd silencer.
4 personal fouls. She's been on the physical side of the game, but also she has been on the scoring side. Glenn Bello, 6-point lead, Harvard.
Gift Uchenna wanted the lob inside and said Daniels holds on. Uchenna give the screen. Daniels sneaks in. Cron goes up, can't find it. Turnover, Wisconsin. And comes Carly White.
Limping slightly, but what's important is that she's back on the court.
Here's White, guarded by Cron. Now Abigail Wright, make it Krupa. Katie Krupa, guarded by Daniels, 9 on the clock. Glenn Bello with a lane brought down, fouled by Daniels.
Yeah, Daniels was expecting the shot there, so he jumps up to block it. However, Bello baits it, and she's getting there. And now she continues the possession for Harvard. 6-point lead with about 3 minutes remaining in this game, Vince.
Harvard has gotten hot on offense when it counts. Daniels has 3 fouls. Krupa, the height mismatch on Porter, swatted by Uchenna. Here come the Badgers with pace, down 6. Daniels, another 3. Rebound by Harvard. Glenn Bello soars in. She has really taken over lately. 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 8 points for her on 3 of 6. One of the seniors, one of the leaders of this team. 2.5 minutes to play. Down low, foul on Cron.
Yeah, it is now judgment day basically for Wisconsin now. About 2 minutes and 23 seconds remaining. 6-point lead. They need to force a turnover here.
Carly Wright back on the floor, 7 on the clock, guarded by Daniels. Slithers inside, again it's blocked by Uchenna. It's the second time Harvard has tried that pick and roll with White, and the second time Gift Uchenna has delivered a highlight block.
That's her 4th on the day so far, Vince.
2.8 for Harvard. Jones to inbound. And Wright has it stolen away by Porter. Here's Gift Uchenna. And Uchenna loses it. Harvard takes it away. Olivia Jones, the freshman. And a missed opportunity for the Badgers, under 2 minutes left.
Quick transition and just unable to keep the ball. Another turnover forced by this Harvard defense.
Porter went for the steal. Badgers bring the double. Right to the corner. Glenn Bello for 3. Glenn Bello, the offensive rebound, back out, and Harvard will let the clock tick. Jones, the runner. Missed it, Uchenna, but Jones again. Multiple offensive rebounds for Harvard in their biggest possession of the season. Jones with 10, slides by Porter. Over to Krupa, inside, Abigail Wright with 2 on the clock. No, out of bounds, And Wisconsin finally gets the ball back, but almost a full minute of time off the clock.
That is great basketball IQ by Harvard. They're sort of letting for the ball to get loose and then making the choice, then influencing the play. That small little switch in IQ, that's exactly what led them to bleed a minute of clock at the end of this game.
Lacey Steele comes in for Gift Uchenna. Maybe a three-point emphasis now for the Badgers. Officially under 1 minute to play. Cron, extra pass. Steele glides in, missed it. Krupa the rebound, but thrown away by Harvard. Well, we know in the final minutes of March, some funky stuff can happen. And a sigh of relief for the Badgers as somehow they get back possession. For the Badgers, they bring Doria Jaya in. And Shea Bullen as well.
High octane play on that last possession, Vince.
Rathia Hatera also comes in for Harvard. Lobbed up to Daniels. Howell for three. Missed it all, and Harvard takes over.